going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the two-wheel teacher, and today I'm on top of a 2018 Road Glide, doing a little bit of a comparison, a little bit of a, I'm a street glide rider myself. That's my daily bike is a 2013 Street Glide, and I'd never ridden a Road Glide before. I was really curious to see what this is all about. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Lets you know anytime I upload a new video so you don't miss any of this sweet Harley-Davidson motorcycle content. Side note, look at that hilariously childish Fart 098 on the back of an incredibly pricey Mercedes AMG GT 53. So anyway, I'm a street glide rider myself. I've read comparisons and watched comparisons between road glide, street glide, fixed fairing, torque fixed fairing, and figured why don't I grab one, borrow one from Tallahassee Harley-Davidson, and see what the deal is. Because I've heard people fight about which one is better. I remember I was down in Miami visiting one of my friends, and we went out, and one of the guys that was working at the bar that we were hanging out at, he's actually a Harley tech. So of course him and I immediately jump into it, start talking about bikes, start talking about what we ride, and he felt very strongly about the advantages and the superiority, I would even say, of a road glide versus a street glide. And nothing got hostile or nothing, but I could tell, very quickly, it was very apparent he had pretty strong feelings about, the expression of the touring platform when it came to a road glide versus a street glide. So there are people who have really, really strong feelings about this sort of thing. While I certainly understand why people love the road glide as I'm riding one, I don't really think it's a matter of better or worse, to be quite honest. Ergonomically, they're pretty much the same thing, because when it comes down to it, you take either fairing off the bike, what you've got is a Road King. Really. You've got the touring chassis platform, you've got the bags, you've got the same motor, you've got the same intakes and exhausts. The differences really just have to do with what sort of fairing you have on the front of it. If you've got a fork-mounted fairing, then you've got a street glide or an Electra glide. And if you've got frame-mounted fairing, then you've got a road glide. And they've each got sort of what you could call advantages or disadvantages over the other. But is one better than the other? I don't think so. I think it's really just a matter of preference. Do you want the fairing to move with your handlebars as you turn or not? Do you want sort of a bigger static fairing in front of you like a road glide? Then that's what you get. You want a little bit smaller, you want something that has a somewhat older history to it as far as appearance and aesthetics go, then you get the Batwing fairing of a street glide or an electric glide. But the road glide, especially since 2014, and especially, that's when they updated the look out of it with the Rushmore project, the road glide has really sort of come into its own, at least from what I've seen on social media and the people that are buying their first Harley or buying their first touring bike. The road glide is a really popular option, and having ridden one now, my lord, I can tell why. It's really familiar ergonomics, it's a really familiar bike, but the comfort that you get from this fixed fairing that just cuts the wind, and all the other, the extra vents that they've got in it, and the stereo, which is a fantastic sounding system, I definitely see why people find the road glide to be an attractive option. It's priced and sits pretty much the exact same spot as a comparable street glide, so they ride really well, they pull really well, they're really comfortable bike. If you're going to tour ride, if you're going to go on trips, if you're going to take, you and a passenger or you and a bunch of luggage and gear a few hundred miles or 1,000+ miles across the country, this is definitely the sort of bike you could do it on. One of the big differences in just the visual experience between this and my street glide is just the sheer size of this fairing on the road glide. It is big. I sat down, and that was one of the first things I noticed, was just the sheer size of it. It is imposing. It takes up a good chunk of your field of view, and not in a way that affects your visibility, because I can still see right in front of me, and obviously to the sides and behind me the fairing's not going to affect that part of my visibility. So it's not imposing, but it feels big. It feels powerful. It feels like feels a little spaceshipy. And again, that's a compliment as far as I'm concerned. That's not a criticism coming from me, because when I'm out riding, I've been on a couple smaller bikes and I've just felt more vulnerable. Even though that may not be the case, I've just felt less heard, less seen, visible on the road. So as far as I'm concerned, the bigger unit that you can be a part of as you're going down the road as a biker, the safer your circumstances are going to be. And that's just how I feel. You know, don't let my biases be your biases. I love these Milwaukee 8s. The torque is just there all the time. It never gets old. So if someone came to me and asked, hey, what should I get, a street glide or a road glide? What would follow would be just a series of questions about preferences and desires for what they want to do with the bike. And I think it's entirely a matter of just what's your aesthetic preference. That's not brain surgery right there. You know, which one do you think looks better? Which one do you think looks better when you're sitting on it? Which one do you think looks better as you're looking at it? That's all you got to know. And then, you know, if someone's seriously considering buying a touring bike and they're looking at road glide versus street glide, dude, go ride them. It didn't take long for me to sit on this thing and do a few miles for me to figure out just what are the subtle, nuanced differences between this bike and my bike. As far as experience goes, they're subtle. I wouldn't even say the biggest difference between my 2013 and this 2018 is necessarily the fairing. I'd say it's the motor. These Milwaukee 8s are just bitey engines. They just want to go. Riding this makes me want to pick up a newer street glide. And I know my fiance is definitely going to watch this and hear that. And I'm not sorry, honey. I like these motors better. So final thoughts on the road glide v street glide conversation. It's a matter of preference. Yeah. Period. You know, before you go and buy a road glide or a street glide, you know what you need to do? Ride them both. Take them both out for a test. See what you like. They're both fantastic bikes. That's the thing. You're going to buy a Harley no matter what. If you're looking at a street glide or a road glide, you're going to buy a Harley, and you're going to buy a bike that you love regardless, because they're fantastic bikes. They're made well. They ride good. This one rides real good. If you own and ride either, leave me your thoughts down in the comments below, especially if you have owned and ridden both. I think that would be interesting to hear from people who have lived with both. So for now, I'm the two-wheel teacher, and I'll see you on the road.